I was growing up in the USSR, and the worst childhood memories I have are food shortages and food lines. In today's Russia, in Putin's Russia, there is a movement of people wishing to go back to the USSR. It's mostly older folks. Well, they don't have to wait any longer because the USSR is back. Check this out.
Время 7:40, 7:50. Очереди не видно. Вот где-то там она заканчивается. Очередь не закончилась. Вот она идет аж туда. Даже не знаю, где конец. Ну вот где-то там. Вон следственная машина, видите? Вот, вторая очередь.
Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin, and here at Inside Russia, I regularly give you the truth of what's really happening in today's Russia. Let me get straight to the food lines. Let me give you my personal experience and tell you how the food lines are back to Russia now. Or should I say, the USSR is back along with the food lines. It's too bad I didn't have a video camera in the late 80s. And thank goodness other people took pictures that I can show you now. There's nothing pretty about standing in a food line, or any line for that matter. Actually, there were lines for everything, not just food. And the food lines were actually not the worst. Let me share my personal experience with you. What I went through in the late 80s. I grew up in the southern city of Rostov-on-Don. In our family, I was responsible for daily shopping for food staples. Bread, butter, milk, sour cream, meat, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, I'd come back from school around 2 p.m. every single day. And around 4 p.m. I'd go to buy bread. Why at 4? Because that was when the bread was delivered to a local store. It was delivered twice a day. In the morning around 9 a.m. I was at school, and in the afternoon around 4 p.m. That's where everyone was coming back from work. The bread store was a 10-minute walk from our apartment, so I'd usually show up a few minutes before delivery. Then the bread line was bearable, and I'd wait in line for about 10 minutes after the bread was delivered. But if I were late 15-20 minutes, just 15-20 minutes, then there was a good chance I'd stand in line from 20 to 30 minutes easily. And if I were to show up after 6 p.m., that'd be no lines. Bread was usually sold out after 6 and the store was absolutely empty. Not like they couldn't bake more bread, but they could care less. That's how the planned economy works. And shopping for other foods was somewhat a similar experience. One day, New Year Eve of 1988, I remember quite well. Somehow it stuck in my memory. I was late buying bread. There was too much commotion of getting ready to celebrate New Year, things like that. So I was late to our local bread store and found empty shelves. Ran to another nearby store, same picture. I remember walking in around near freezing temperature on a dark street. The streets in the USSR were mostly dark, and I was feeling absolutely miserable. So I ran from store to store for about an hour, and finally I hit a large store where they had bread. I stood in line for about 40 minutes because everyone from our part of the city came for the bread there. It was the only place where they were still selling bread around 8 p.m. I got home with 2 loaves of bread, and I was so happy. I was 12 years old, but I still remember that as if it happened yesterday. I think that you still have a hard time understanding me, because to fully understand, you'd have to live through that. Trust me, standing in food lines is far from pleasant. That's why I have never understood people who want to bring the USSR back. What the heck? They want planned economy back? Lack of rights and personal freedoms? They want everyone poor and police having complete control over you? They want food shortages. They want to stand in food lines for hours again. To me, that sounds like madness. But the Russian government has done a brilliant job of brainwashing their minds and installing fake memories. At least that's the only explanation that I have of why they want the USSR back. But guess what? These people don't have to wait any longer. The USSR they wanted back so bad has returned. And with my great displeasure, let me show you how the new and improved USSR looks like. In December of 2023, people all over Russia stand in long lines to buy eggs. Remember I told you, it's too bad I didn't have a video camera in the late 80s. And guess what? It doesn't matter because these scenes from today look exactly like I remember the late 80s. They are food lines, people wearing cheap black clothes, and overall mood is depressing. The food lines are back to Russia, and people waiting in lines to buy eggs is just the beginning. The early birds of economic apocalypse, as I call it. They wanted the USSR back, well, get it. It's just, I don't see anyone smiling and being happy about it. But hey, what do I know?
Yes.
Let's get some eggs here in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Let's go. Здравствуйте. А почему у вас яйца?
По 2000. Это 1800.
Это хорошие?
Хорошие, крупные.
Десяток дайте мне. Вот так. Спасибо. Here in Tashkent, we have all the eggs we want and there are no food lines because USSR is not back here.